Thank you very much, Jairus. It's a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure um, working with you, and always a pleasure supporting your cause. And I love being part of your network. So it's really awesome to be here today. And I hope that the team can also forgive me if I keep clearing my throat. I got caught up with the cold that is happening. Um, so, but nonetheless, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. I saw a notification that my network is misbehaving. So, I kindly enable me to share screen. Yeah. All right. So tonight we want to look at how you can speak to influence. And I believe communication is the biggest skill or one of the major skills that we really, really need to utilize to position us to where we want to go. So I just want to, oh yeah, so probably just a quick introduction for those whom we have not met. I am a CHRP, certified HR professional. I'm also a certified coach. I am a certified mediator. I am a certified professional trainer as well. I I sit in one of the branches for IHRM. I also do what we call, I sit in a couple of boards in terms of governance, and I've been in this industry for a while. And also, I run an organization called Atara Solutions, and I host a webinar series called Get It Right with Atara Solutions. And you can, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. But I also work as an events coordinator for different events, including conferences hosted by the Institute of Human Resource Management. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn, CHRP Grace Nzula. And of course, I've talked about the company I come from. We offer four services. We have HR consulting. This is where we carry out job evaluations, salary surveys. We offer policy reviews or creation of policies, organization documentation, and we also do what we call organization restructuring and redesign. We also offer training services, or what most of you call L&D. And under training, we do end-to-end HR trainings. We also do soft skills. We also do coaching, and we run a mentorship program for HR professionals as well, called Growth Grid Mentorship Program. And then we do what we call HR Manager Outsourced for organizations that want to outsource their HR. We also do team building. And what we have not put here is we do talent sourcing, where we do support organizations in recruitment. So just to begin our conversation this evening, and I just want to hear from you. Why do we communicate? Just let us know on the chat. Why do we communicate? Why do we communicate? Tell us on the chat. Why do we communicate? Why do we communicate? Why do we communicate?
To present our
Jairus, you can help
ideas,
me.
I can see to present our ideas,
Mm-hmm.
to relay information and receive feedback, to
Mm-hmm.
express our in our opinion, to influence, to pass
Mm-hmm.
information, to sell ourselves and skills, to share information, to build rapport, to transform,
Mm-hmm.
to connect,
Mm-hmm.
understand each other, to pass
Mm-hmm.
information with clarity and precision.
Mm-hmm.
For information
Read a few
sharing and
more.
ideas.
Mm-hmm.
To solve problems, to get things done. all, all answers are correct. To negotiate, to avoid confusion, for clarity.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm loving the answers. I'm loving the answers. Why do we communicate? If we can get another one, maybe something different. Why do we communicate?
To achieve results.
Mm-hmm.
To influence, yes. To obtain solutions. To
Mm-hmm.
make friendships and have relationships. We communicate to inform, influence, collaborate, achieve organizational goals while maintaining respect, clarity, and accountability. To foster change.
I love that. All right.
To remain
Excellent. And
updated.
you can keep
Yeah.
that coming. Yes, I totally agree with all your answers. All those are reasons to communicate. I'm just wondering why people are not saying we communicate to start dating, because we communicate because we want to meet our significant others, you know? We communicate to find solutions. We communicate for all intent and purposes. We are always communicating. And personally, Grace Nzula here believes that all our earthly problems, 80% of them would be solved if and only if we did better in matters communication. So if you are having trouble with yourself, just check within yourself in terms of how do you really communicate? Are you able to articulate issues? Are you able to, or rather, let people know that this is your stand? Are you able to decipher information? Are you able to process information as it should? Are you able to attract, to send, to, all these things? Are you in a position, or have you just probably taken stock? And maybe if we had time, one of the things, and maybe we should ask, let me ask you, how do you, and maybe you can just think about it, how do you communicate? You as an individual, how do you communicate? Would be the question. And I want you to probably answer this question at the end of this, because self-awareness is one of the ways that we can ace this idea of communication. And there's I can't remember who wrote that quote, and they say that most of us think that we have communicated, or the biggest problem on earth is the illusion that communication has taken place. You have the illusion that you have communicated, but however, people have not understood. Now, the number one rule of communication, rule of thumb, is the onus or the onus, or for you to have said, to have communicated, lies on the sender of the message, not the receiver. You, the person passing this message, is the person who has the honors to ensure that they package the message in a way that the audience understands. And this is very important, because it is very, very key for you to be able to communicate or pass information to people, or to human beings, or to whoever is receiving your information, including machines, because nowadays machines are becoming brighter, based on the information that we pass across. So communication is really, really important. And I love this quote by Nat Turner, who says that communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. They are not just talking about communication, they are talking about good communication. Good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. So have you ever found yourself in a situation, and you can type on the chat, type why if this has happened to you, where you're finding yourself saying, wait, I did not mean it like that. Just type YY on the chat. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're saying, I did not mean it like that? Type YY on the chat. Have you found yourself in that situation? Yeah. Jairus, is there anything that is coming? Have you found yourself as saying that I am sorry, I did not mean it that way?
Mercy is saying why? Mercy has a problem with copying, so I can see everyone is now copying Mercy. Why?
Yes, because I have said type YY. And that is true because as human beings, at some point, we have found ourselves communicating in a way that it was not understood in how we intended. And this is why we are supposed to take communication as a skill. Communication is a muscle. You have to exercise it. Communication is not something that you just wake up and decide I am a good communicator. Even good communicators have to exercise it every so often so that you can grow the muscle. You can grow to understand it. Yeah. So in fact, when we say, I just thought, let me just put this one, because communication, just like the definition of emotional intelligence, the definition of communication is also a bit very ambiguous and also very broad, you know, and your thoughts, yeah, your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, you know, information, you know, and can you imagine you thinking about something, you know, coming up with an idea, or you feeling something and packaging it into information so that you can spill it out. And this goes out by either a form of speech or a spoken word, like the words I'm using now, non-verbal, you know, those of us who have to arrange our faces before we say something because we are always speaking with our face. You know, you say something and somebody's like, yeah, you can actually read their face that they actually disagree with you or they are not happy about what you're talking about. Yeah. Or even written word. Workplaces, we are using written words every day, and kwanza nowadays with WhatsApp, it has become a central means of communication. Yeah. So this happens, you transfer this information, these feelings, these ideas, these thoughts, yeah, so that the receiver or the person who is on the other side can understand this information. And so I find this a bit broad, you know, but it is what it encompasses, communication, right? So, and we experience communication in different ways. Yeah, there are only 5 ways that we experience information, and this is by hearing. Like, for example, some of you right now are hearing my voice, so you are having you're experiencing communication through hearing. Some of you are looking at your screen. You're looking at my face. You're looking at how I am using my hands. You're using at how I am moving. Yeah, seeing. You know, you're looking at this presentation and you're seeing images and they are communicating something, right? So seeing is another way that we experience communication. Then smell. And this is why you go into your house and you're like, ugh, something smells awful. Or, ooh, that one smells nice, you know? Somebody walks into the office and you're like, new cologne or something. Because this is a beautiful smell that has hit you, right? And it communicates, you know? When it is a foul smell, you're like, when you have not showered in how many days? And when it's a beautiful smell, you'll be like, yo, somebody has changed their cologne, right? Then communication using touch or through touch, yeah? For those of you who are into PDA, somebody is walking around the street and they just plant a kiss on your cheek and you're like, oh, you know, that is touch. They have not said anything, you know, they come and hold your shoulder at some point. It is communication. You know, you have gone for a funeral and somebody is hugging you. They don't need to say anything. Just a tight hug, is telling you something, you know. And then we experience communication through taste. You bite something and you're like, yummy. You bite something and you're like, ish, I don't understand how you guys eat these things, you know? That is communication in its. So we experience communication in all these forms. However, back to the workplace. They say that a lot of people in our workplaces, this was a study done in 2024, and they said that 55% of people communicate via email to their clients, right? So if you're looking for a job, if you're already employed, one of the tools that are used in the workplaces is email communication. And probably one of these fine days, Jay, we need to focus on written communication specifically, so that then we are bringing this email conversation to life. Yeah. And then they are also saying that 72% of communication, yeah, helps in the business. Yeah. When people communicate effectively in their workplaces, 72% increase in productivity. So if you're able to communicate effectively, you're able to get more results, right? Then it also says that 42% of workers say that poor communication affects cross-functional collaboration. If you're not, in fact, if you are working in a toxic environment, one of the biggest challenges that is making our workplaces toxic is poor communication. I can tell you that for free. You know, when somebody is trying, in fact, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today, and she was telling me that the bosses, those ones of, excuse me, can you follow my instructions? I have been doing this for 30 years. You're not going to teach me how to do HR. You know, already that is a problem in communication, and this place has become a place you don't want to wake up every day, right? So it is very, very important that we are communicating better. And then, unfortunately or fortunately for us as human beings, 93% of our communication is affected by our nonverbal cues. How you're rolling your eyes, how you're opening them, how you're closing them, how you're holding your chin, you know, nonverbal communication. How, you know, I went to an event the other day sometime, and one person who was woke up to speak, they were walking in a way that was like, oh, please, I own this stage. And, you know, they went up on stage and they were pouting their lips and looking like they are sneering. And, you know, everybody lost interest. In fact, people started watching her face more than listening to what she was talking about. So your nonverbal communication speaks before you utter your words. And it is very important that we are very aware of our nonverbal cues, because those are the things that affect us. Now, employees in our workplaces, I can tell you this without fear or favor, that you will be rated. You are very good technically, excellent, we put a mark. You have excellent experience, we put a mark. You are delivering results, we put a mark. My friend, if you cannot communicate, and we have to choose between a B performer and an A performer. If you have a B performer who is able to communicate, I can tell you this for a fact, that we are going to retain the B performer who can communicate, rather than stay with the A performer who cannot communicate. I tell you that for free. For free. Hapa nimewaambia tu kweli. Okay, for the non-Kenyans maybe. I tell you for free. You communicate. If you're not able to communicate, I can tell you, you will not be able to excel. You know, you will always be stuck at some point. You have a ceiling. If you're not able to communicate, you will always have a ceiling. So you are judged by how you communicate. You are judged by how you listen. You're judged by how you write. You're judged how you respond under pressure. If you're the kind of person who bangs tables under pressure, we are watching, we can see, and you are sending a very serious message. And then how you collaborate. Are you able to work within teams? Are you able to engage others? And like I said, all our problems on this God-given earth are, first of all, caused by communication, right? Right? So when you talk about communication, talking about nonverbal, we're talking about how you listen. We're talking about how you prepare your presentations. We're talking about how you write. We're talking about you sending that message at 1 a.m. How is it structured? You know? How are you asking for leave? How are you defending your request for salary increment? How are you saying no because no is also communication. How are you drawing boundaries in the workplace? You will be judged by how you communicate. I kid you not, right? So we really have to invest. Take your time, learn how to speak, learn how to articulate, learn how to package. You know, I remember my former boss used to ensure that in January of every year, you wanted an increment. You don't just write a letter and request for an increment. You needed to defend your letter. You needed to show the business case. You're a team leader? Yes. Your team has requested for increments? Yes. You also think it is a good idea? Yes. So you, as a business owner, tell us where we are going to find this information, where we are going to find this money, and what percentage is it, where is it going to come from? And you know, initially we used to really complain. Initially we used to be like, oh my God, it's January. Oh my God, because all of us are also a bit scared of accountability. But once we got to understand what was going on, it became very easy for us to actually, we used to start getting excited. You collect data way in advance. You know, I'm going to request for 20% increment. I have factored. But my friend, if you have not been performing, oh my God, just come back with your 6% of COLA, and you have to justify that COLA as well. Because where is the business going to get that COLA from? Right? So it is very important. If you want to grow, you really must exercise your communication muscle. That one is not a choice, right? So there are 5 pillars into communication. Yeah. Sorry. Number 1 is confidence, or rather clarity. You really need to be clear. You really need to know what it is that you want to pass across. You really want to think about how, what, when, you know, what are you saying? What is this message you're passing across? And by the way, and I hope, and maybe you need to learn who your personalities of the people you're interacting with. If you have a dominant personality, you know you hit the nail on the head. If you start giving stories, you lose them in between, and they'll be like, please, can you get to the point? Because stories don't work for them, right? If you don't have a dominant person, you have probably an eye, somebody who is influential. You need to use stories as well. If you're dealing with the personality of S and C, you also need to see those ones you want to convince them slowly. So you use storytelling. All these things you need to learn. But what I'm saying is your message has to be clear. What is it that you're looking for? What do you want? Right? Number 2, you have to work on your confidence. My friend, kujichocha, like we say in Swahili, if you're seated next to a non-Swahili speaker, translate kujichocha. You have to have confidence. You cannot be thinking, oh my God, what am I going to tell them? What time do I say this? And then you come, hi, I wanted to request whether you can give me an increase. It will not work. It will not. You have to have confidence. You have to work on your confidence. And the only way you work on your confidence is becoming competent. Invest in learning. Invest in understanding. Invest in interpretation. Invest in making sure that you're able to understand issues. Yeah? So work on your confidence. Then you have to work on your credibility. Are you trustworthy? Are you reliable? We are going to look at credibility separately. Yeah? Then you must look at your empathy. Can you use empathy in communicating? Are you putting yourself in the other person's shoes? Are you able to read the room? You know, empathy is also reading the room. Sometimes you see people talking, you know, you come and disrupt people who are having a very serious conversation. And sometimes that conversation is about loss. And you just come and you're there with excitement. You don't even want to know what was going on. You just come with your issues. So you know about empathy. And then you have to work on respect. Respect is mutual. Respect people, respect spaces, respect authority, respect yourself, you know? Have you ever been told by somebody you need to learn to respect yourself? It is a skill. Respecting self is also knowing when to speak. It is also knowing how to speak it. It is also knowing that some words will not pass. It is also knowing understanding the nuances of where you are at, all right? The other thing that or other tool that we really need to work on is our listening skills. Oh my God, especially listening. You know, they say that women listen to photographers only. You really need to work on your listening skills. Unfortunately, a lot of us think, or rather listen to respond. A lot of us don't listen to understand. A lot of us don't understand what is being said to us. Most of us are only listening to respond. Sorry. Some of you are already thinking, oh my God, what is Grace talking about? If it were me, I would have put it like this. Because most of us don't listen to understand. We listen to respond. And I'm sure you have heard about that, yeah? So on your listening skill, because this is so underrated. And I am telling you, one of the tools that I have been working on myself in the last couple of years is learning to listen, you know? I am challenging myself every single day to learn to listen. And this is part of why I went into coaching, because I became a coach. And one of the things that I was struggling with is being a consultant. Our work is to give advice. Our work is to prescribe solutions, right? And then you go into coaching, and your main job in coaching is actually to listen. And it is one of the skills that have really worked for me. Both as a parent, I want to listen to my children more. I want to listen to my colleagues as well. The people I work with, am I able to listen better? And it is listen without interruption. It is listen without forming an opinion. It is listen without judgment, yeah? So paying attention, listening actively, ensuring that you're reflecting. And I keep saying, whenever you're listening, for example, in this lesson today, keep reflecting. Ask yourself, what is it about this I need to change? What is it I need to stop doing? What is it I need to start doing? So reflect. Ensure you're summarizing. The only way you can confirm that you're listening is by summarizing. By saying, let me just understand this. Did you say 1, 2, 3? Or paraphrasing, you know? Summarize so that you can make sure you're on the right page. And then share, you know, share this information. Don't just be the person who listens and then when they're done, you say thank you and you're gone. No. My key point on this listening is to avoid judgment. My good friends, please avoid judgment. You know, those ones you're listening to somebody and you're already thinking, how slow can this person be? Or you're already wondering, oh my God, which school did you go to? You know? Or you're also wondering, like, how can you come up with something like that? You know? Because you're already judging this situation. Yeah. So one of the key takeaways for you today is to listen without judgment. Listen with an open mind, because you get to understand things better when you have an open mind. Yeah. Then seek clarity. If it's something that is not clear for you, please seek clarity. Yeah. Seek clarity. Ask, what did you mean? Ask. You said 1, 2, 3. Kindly expound. Ask, clarify, so that then you make sure you are on the same page. Yeah? We've talked about you as a listener. We've talked about you as a communicator. When you're passing message, ensure that you have confidence, ensure that you have clarity, ensure that you're respecting the other person, ensure that you have empathy, right? And ensure that you can be understood. Yeah? Now, the topic today was about using influence. Yeah. And one of the other pillars in communication is credibility. My good friends, if you are not a credible person, you really need to rethink your life and start working on your credibility as soon as yesterday. Credibility is what gets you on the table. Credibility is what keeps you on the table. Credibility is what gets you promoted. Credibility is what makes every intern who has joined that organization be fired and you remain. Credibility is how your ideas are bought into. I meet a lot of HR professionals who are saying, how do I advocate for my project? How do I make management invest in this project? And one of the things that you really must work on is your credibility, my friend. Your credibility. Are you showing value? Yeah. Now, credibility is earned by communicating. Is what you're saying believable? Can people believe what you're saying? Right? Do you have knowledge? Can you demonstrate knowledge and expertise or competence? Remember, credibility, for you to be credible, you must work on your competence. You must know your stuff. You must know what you're talking about. You must be this person that people can trust. You have the best interest at heart. You know, one of the ways you lose credibility is you want to sell an idea, but you have lied so many times that you're not believable anymore. You know, that is, you have lost credibility. And my good friends, you can have amazing ideas, but if you do not have credibility, your ideas will always be put under the file. So you need to demonstrate knowledge and competence in whatever you're doing. You must demonstrate that. Right? Number 2 on credibility is respect. Respect is earned through actions. Do you do what you said you will do? Actions. It is not lip service where you speak and speak like a politician. In the workplace, you cannot survive like that. You have to be respectable. You know? Are you ethical? Are you a person who is trustworthy? And believe you or not, respect is about perception. Can people perceive you to be ethical? Are people thinking that you are not out to get them, that you're coming from a clean heart? That is credibility. Yeah. And then trust. Trust is an assumption. Yeah. This is an assumption. People assume that you're trustworthy. People like you. People are happy to work with you. People believe in your ideas. People buy into your vision. Yeah. That is how you build credibility. Now, if you want to be influential in your workplace, if you want to be impactful in your workplace, you need to build on your credibility. And credibility is earned by communicating through action and through trust. If people trust you, if people respect you, if people believe in you, or believe in your ideas, or believe your ideas, then, my friends, you can become credible, and that way you can use your communication skills to be able to impact or influence. Yeah. The other way you can influence through communication is using emotional intelligence. I know in this forum you had a session on emotional intelligence. You can check the YouTube channel for that information. Now, when we talk about speaking with emotional intelligence, we are talking about an example here. Yeah. How we'll get through this together. Yeah. This means that you are standing with people. Emotional intelligence means you apologize. You can say, I am sorry. Recognizing when you have hurt people and then owning it. Not just saying sorry just for the sake of saying sorry. It is sorry and then having a change of behavior. We are talking about, tell me more about your concerns. You know, you're talking about, let's discuss this. You know, let's just have a conversation so that we can resolve this conflict. Can we talk about it? You know, my friend Irene and I always say there are some conversations we need to have. You know, every time we are talking about a matter, and maybe I've gone to vent, and she'd be like, okay, I've listened to you, and I think you have conversations that you need to have. And that means that I need to have a conversation with somebody who I think we're in conflict with. Yeah. Great. Joe, can I help? You know, let me know, walk me through what happened, just so that you can understand what is it that is going on in this place. Yeah. So it is important that you understand how to communicate using emotional intelligence. These are just examples I have shared, yeah? For you to be able to influence, you need to also use storytelling. Yeah, storytelling is, and we are being told nowadays, storytelling is the skill of 2025, 2026 going forward, because you have to learn to articulate. Are you able to use visuals? You know, this is very important when you're doing your reports. Are you able to interpret data? Are you able to show just stories and say, this is where it began, this is where we are at, and I see us going this way, you know? Who is your audience in storytelling? Are you able to articulate or outline your message? What is this, the core message you want to pass? You know? Are you honest? Because once they can read your bullshitting people, they will not be, your credibility is lost. So be honest, you know? And then don't just be superficial. Give examples, go deep, encourage understanding, yeah? And then make sure that this information is useful. Is it relevant? Can it be used somewhere, yeah? And then allow room for imagination. What is our next step? What is it that we can do tomorrow? This information, is it helpful in making decisions? So storytelling is a skill that you really must learn to be able to communicate effectively and be influential, yeah? Number 4 is positive language. Some of you are people who use such negative language every day, you know? Things like, that is not my job. It's not in my JD, yeah? Or we can't. An idea is sold and you're like, we can't. You're told we need to deliver this by Friday at 2 p.m. You're fast, we can't, you know? Because you have such a negative connotation to your thoughts. And my good friends, we really need to change. Every time you're, let me tell you, no one likes negative people. I can tell you that again. For somebody who has worked with people all my life, I can tell you this for free. People do not like negativity. They don't. That your work is just negative, negative, negative. People will not enjoy that, right? So one of the things that you need to consider or statements, instead of saying we can't, can you say we will find a way? You know, instead of saying it's not my job, you know, you can say I'd love to help. However, I'm not the best person for it. But if you give me support, I'm sure to try, you know. Or you say, I might, you know, the way you go into a meeting and then you're saying, I might be wrong, but, you know. Instead of that, you say, may I suggest we do 1, 2, 3. Have some positivity in your life. What do you think about this? Can we do this instead of this? Instead of saying, that idea is very stupid. No, that is very negative. It is very, very discouraging, right? So for you to influence, you also have to have positive thinking or positive mindset or positive language, right? And then finally, asking questions. You must learn to ask powerful questions. I know all of us, even me, I'm still in the class of learning powerful questions. And this is a tool I have learned in coaching as well, because coaching, we use questions a lot, yeah? Instead of asking somebody, how do you think things are going? You say, what would make you feel confident? Or what would make you feel that this is in the right track? Or what is it you think we can do for the next quarter? Yeah? Then instead of saying, is there anything I should know about what's changing? You can ask, are there shifts in priorities or organization direction that we should be factoring in how we are leading the team right now, or in how we are functioning as a team, right? Or instead of saying, what do you think I could improve? He's saying, what's the one thing I could do differently that would make me more effective at this level? Allow people to give you solutions in a very subtle, in a very wise, you know, applying wisdom in your communication, yeah? What help would you need, right? Where do you think there's friction? Ask questions that will give you more than a yes or no answer. Ask questions that will ask, people will not be like, I don't know. Ask questions that people will think. so that you can get to have more broader conversations and you're able to influence more and you're able to have these solid conversations that can actually solve issues. Yeah. Now, I love using this. If you are doing a full communication class, I normally teach people how men and women communicate, because men and women communicate very differently. Yeah. They communicate, think, and respond to things very, very differently. If we had time, we would have gone through that, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. But remember, you need to go and do more research on how the gender communicates. Men and women actually communicate very differently. Yeah. So we need to really take care of our communication as the senders of the information, as receivers of information. I like using this because it is very common. Yeah. People saying my words came out fine. They were processed incorrectly by your brain. You have shifted responsibility. And we have said communication, the responsibility of communication lies with the sender, not the receiver. But you as a receiver, it is important that you learn to listen so that you can create a mutually beneficial relationship. So communication helps you build rapport, but not like this kind of communication. Yeah. It is not their brain that processed. It is yours that was not effective. So effective communication is only when, please note, only when you understand each other, you stimulate each others to take action, and you encourage others to think in new ways. So for you to say communication was effective, three things happen. Understanding takes place, action takes place, or there are new ideas that have been planted. That is when we can say that communication was effective. Right? So if you are communicating and there's no understanding, then it means it was not effective. If it is not stimulating others to take action, then it was not communication, right? If you're not encouraging people to think in new ways, then my good friends, that is not effective communication. So listen actively, listen with empathy, communicate with empathy, give constructive feedback, express yourself clearly, be mindful of your body language, and then adapt. Adaptability means that you have to see how people communicate, and then you have to learn how they communicate and start communicating to them in a way they can understand, in a way that they can be able to understand. So just to summarize, yeah, it is not simply exchanging information. Communication is not simply exchanging information. It is creating understanding, building trust. Yeah. It is about inspiring action and strengthening relationships. So if you have a relationship that is dented somewhere, it is a matter of communication. If you are not having a misunderstanding, it is communication. If people don't trust you, you need to work on your communication so that people can understand. And by the way, note, if we had time, we would have talked about handling a difficult conversation, because that's a whole conversation on its own. How do you have difficult conversation? And you can still be credible, even when you're not telling people what they want to hear, right? You can still remain credible, right? So we are saying words have incredible power. They can inspire, motivate, heal, build trust, or do the complete opposite. My good friends, choose them wisely. Finally, your expertise gets you hired, but your communication skills helps you grow, it helps you influence, and it helps you lead. Be intentional with it. Back to you, Jairus.
Wow, that was a wonderful session. I think for those of us that have gotten something, we can just react pale chini, and I'm hoping that there are those of us that have some questions to Grace, our speaker. That was wonderful, and I've as well learned a lot. The first question comes from can see Mercy said that women only listen to photographers, and I think that is true. Grace, can you can you
I said
confirm
that.
this?
I'm the one who said that. She's repeating.
Oh, she's copy pasting. She's been copy pasting since she joined. So,
And it is true.
so I can see Marion says that it is a wide session. Thank you. Is it good to nod or quietly say yes or I understand while someone is speaking? I've noticed that many people do this during meetings. Is it considered good communication or meeting etiquette?
Nodding, yes, because it shows you're listening. I understand only when you are allowed to speak, not in between the sentences. Yes, if you're asked a question, or yes, just not to interrupt. Normally, when somebody is speaking, you can say, you can nod, you can, thumbs up. Your nonverbal skills come into play, or you can, agree with them in a way that is not disruptive. But when somebody is, for example, in like I'm talking now, and then Jairus is busy saying, I understand, I would be forced to keep quiet to allow them time to speak. So if it is interrupting, then I say no. But you nodding is very saying yes to when it is time for you to speak, then yes.
Thank you for that. How do you communicate with gatekeepers of vital information?
Oof, that needs a whole session. Now it depends on this information. Maybe they could expound on that. Gatekeepers in what sense? I would ask. If it's gatekeepers of what? Like you want to know how much salaries we are paying here and we are not revealing. That one you really need to be nice and everything for people to give you such kind of information. It really depends on the information, and most of the time it's the value proposition. If you are facing a gatekeeper, they're gatekeeping because they don't see value in what you're asking.
Thank
so
you.
If they see value in what you're asking, yeah?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so if they see value in what you're asking, if they can see, there's something we call in communication, what's in it for them. If they can see what's in it for them, then information can come to you easily.
Thank you for that. Mkami ameongezea, amesema apart from photographers bado tunasikiza pastors sana. Now, turn taking is actually a problem to many. Sarah says that. I think she's making a comment. I wish she had more time. I like the session. She will have round 2 of this. Very good informative session. Is okay? Is it okay to complete a sentence for someone when he or she is talking?
No, that
Kaviria.
is
Yeah, go ahead.
That is listening to respond. That is such bad manners. That is not listening to understand. It is listening to respond, and it is really bad.
Nasirumbi asks, what do you do when you are talking and someone keeps interrupting you?
You request them kindly to allow you to finish.
Thank you.
So, for example, if I was talking right now and Jairus wants to say something, I'd go like, Jay, just give me a moment. Let me finish. And then I will invite them to speak after I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, Alvin just clarified that gatekeepers of report deadlines. I think that one you've responded. What's the difference between judging and reading one's mind in the course of active listening?
So long as okay, so judging is making conclusions. Yeah. Reading one's mind is again assuming that you want to see where they are coming from. So it could be in two ways. If it is reading so that you can understand where they're coming from, then okay. But if it is making conclusion that where they are coming from cannot be where you want to go, then you have not understood. If you ask me, I would say before you even start reading their mind, listen and see whether you can understand where they are. Because once you start reading their mind, you already have an idea and you'll make your conclusion before they even get to where they're going. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. That was a wonderful session. My takeaway is I should learn to listen, to understand, and not to respond. Does one need to be a public speaker to be a good communicator, or is vice versa true?
Come again?
Does one need to be a public speaker to be a good communicator?
No, 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 no. There are different ways that we communicate. Just because you're a public speaker does not mean that you can communicate things clearly. You probably have a better advantage because you already have understood how to reach out to your audience. But no, you don't have to be a public speaker to be a good communicator. But what is public speaking? It is speaking to other people, not to yourself only. So it comes in as a package, yeah.
Thank you so much for all the wisdom. How do you communicate effectively with someone who make things awkward on purpose? How do you dissolve the awkwardness and ensure fluidity?
If they make, okay, this is just, if they make things awkward, sometimes you can crack a joke. Humor. Sometimes you can ask a question so that there is no that awkwardness. Sometimes you can, mostly one of the things that I personally would use is questions. Or I would pause and then look at them, communicate with my face before I say anything, so that then they can also notice the awkwardness. If it's not a place where we are looking at each other, I would go ahead and ask questions or crack a joke in between and see the response.
Thank you so much for that. Next time, please talk about self-confidence. Think we've noted that. I can keep listening to Madam Grace for hours. Thanks for the session. That is good feedback. This needs a masterclass. Wow, Rebecca, thank you. The sender could be clear, but the receiver could be biased or fixed mind. How can you break through?
Normally, you, again, asking powerful questions. When you realize that the person you're speaking to is biased or has a fixed mindset, questions is what gets them to rethink. In coaching, there's something we call evoking awareness, where this person may not even be aware that they are biased or they have a fixed mind. So you ask questions that can bring them to the realization that, wait a minute, I am actually having an issue with this because of 1, 2, 3. So questions, for example, you'd be asking like, what do you think about this and that? So that you throw the onus onto them. You know what you want, but you bring it out in a very wise way so that then you can help them think through their biases and get over that fixed mindset. So questions is, it is your, clack it. Yes.
Thank you. What if you have an idea, but they keep putting you off?
Well, timing. Timing, right? Now, in the workplace, it is not always that your ideas will be bought, okay? So you may have beautiful ideas, but you may be speaking, either the timing is wrong, the budgets are not there, or the idea has not been bought into. So for you to be able to sell those ideas, you also need to ask, in fact, go back to the drawing board and ask yourself, why is my idea not bought into? Because if you've shared the idea once, twice, it means that either they don't trust you or they don't have credibility in you, and not because of anything you've done. By the way, just don't get me wrong, not because you have not gotten it right, or there's something you did that was wrong. No, it could be credibility in terms of they think you're too young. It could be credibility in terms of the other idea you shared did not work. It could be they don't trust this idea because they don't have enough funds, or they have a fixed mindset. So you really need to go back to drawing board and ask yourself, why is it that these ideas are not being bought? Yeah, what is it I can do to build my credibility? Because remember, like we've talked about, when you talked about credibility, let me just take you back to that. It is a perception. People buy you before they can buy what you're selling. So what is the perception of these people in your workplace? Yeah. And it does not mean that there's something wrong you have done. Please don't think that it's something wrong you have done. It could be because of your experience. It could be because of there are other biased opinions. Yeah. So just ask yourself, what is it that is perceived about this? Or what assumptions are coming with my office? Sometimes you could be, because the previous employee was in that position was not able to articulate issues, everyone in that department was jumped up together. So find out why, and then look for ways now you can deal with it. Yeah.
On body language, how can you, guys, we are extending for the next 5 minutes only, then we, so on body language, how can you be aware what is correct body language to show in a situation? And how can you even be aware of your body language when you are in deep conversations?
This is, I'm going to send you to do an exercise on yourself, yeah? This is on self-awareness. How do you respond? You know, if you're self-aware, you would actually know which body language comes when. So for example, if you're the kind of person who, when you hear bad news, your face speaks fast, you have to actually start catching yourself when you're doing these things. Yeah. So body language is about observing, and even you can have a journal and saying, oh my God, I rolled my eyes. Oh my God, I sneered. Oh my God, I was smiling at a place where I did not need to smile. Oh my God, I was using my hands in a very different way. So you need to catch yourself so that you can build this self-awareness and these situations so that now you can be sure of when this happens. Yeah. And then once you catch yourself, how do you know the body in deep conversations? You can already know how you're reacting. And this means that you have to be conscious listening, that you are there, body, soul, and mind. And even if the conversation is deep, you can actually tell how your body is responding. It's like saying you don't know when you're crying when you start crying. You will start crying. You can feel the lump here, it is coming. And sometimes you don't know when you're stressed. You can hear the heart telling you, having heart palpitation. Your body communicates. So you really need to start working on self-awareness to be able to catch yourself in this communication matters.
Thank you so much for that, Grace. If asked a question, is it good or right to repeat the question before answering?
It's very important. It is very important that you're repeating your questions. Like we said, you paraphrase. Like we said, you can summarize. Like we said, you need to find a way to make sure that you repeat this question for it to make sense. So it is very, very good. Remember not to repeat okay. Like say, for example, I said, how would you do a certain task? And then you repeat the whole thing. And you're repeating that every time. Yeah. Sometimes you say, so let me just understand. The question is on 1, 2, 3. The next time, use things like, you mean this and this. You get, so that it doesn't look like you're, in French, we call it kufotia. I don't know how you call it in English. My people help me. Like you're making them repeat themselves too much. Yeah.
So how do I show confidence while communicating, especially in an interview?
How do you show confidence? You can only be confident or you're not. It's not something you show. You need to breathe in and breathe out. You need to know how you behave when you're nervous. And so how you behave when you're nervous, it helps you deal with it. So for example, if you're the kind of person who shakes when they're nervous, you know that you need to breathe in and breathe out heavy. And then if you need to, you can sip a glass of water. It calms you down. Yeah. You can also check things like there are people who will do like your fist, you can see my screen. Jairus, maybe you can spotlight me so that they can see what I'm demonstrating during interviews, so that you can now also probably calm yourself down. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. How do you ensure effective communication is achieved while dealing with avoidance? Avoidance
personality disorder.
Yes.
Ati, how do you make sure?
How do you ensure effective communication is achieved when dealing with avoidance?
Questions. Number one, ask questions. Number two, avoidance normally avoid conversations when they are threatened. So have you created a safe space? Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you created a safe space? So that the avoidance, instead of them wanting to run away, they now trust you and they can be able to feel safe. Because the avoidance start running when they are threatened. So if it's not a safe space, then it doesn't matter. Even if you ask questions, if it's not safe, they will still avoid that conversation. So the first thing is to create a safe space, build trust, build your credibility. And then instead of the avoidant personality disorder showing up, it now becomes a safe space, and they will not be running away from you.
As a leader, what is the best way to communicate difficult decisions to employees?
Empathy.
Yes, someone has responded calmly with empathy. Explain you understand the impact and you are ready to offer some support, like emotional support. I think that is well responded to. Kindly share. We are leaving work now. Couldn't join on time. Oh, we'll have this uploaded on our YouTube channel. I'll be sharing the link. Say, if you are a finance person, do you need to communicate using finance jargon?
No, please do not use jargon. Please. In fact, there's a saying that goes that if you cannot explain things simply without using jargon, then you're not competent enough. Unless you're speaking to your fellow finance people, then you can show your prowess.
Yes, and someone is asking, Joanne is asking, Grace, do you have classes for effective communication?
Yes, I offer communication sessions to people. We are working on launching a public speaking class in October. So keep it here. We shall have an amazing session coming up. Yep.
Peggy, we'll have this on our YouTube channel. We've had Thursdays with Jay since February. So all of those sessions have been uploaded on our YouTube channel. How do I show confidence while communicating, especially in an interview? That one you've responded. Jargon becomes noise in communication. Please share the link to your WhatsApp channel. That one you're sharing. Grace, do you have any parting shots for this team, even as we wind up?
Yes. So my parting shot is build on your credibility. Credibility, clarity, and confidence gets you to the next level. For the job seekers who are looking for jobs, work on your competence. When you're competent enough, you will be able to show confidence. Otherwise, if you're not competent, you will be shaking and wondering whether you're saying things the right way because you do not know what you're saying. So work on your craft, create your credibility, and be intentional. Communication, like I said, it's a muscle. The more you exercise it, the better you become. Asante.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was an amazing session, and I'm sure we'll have part 2 of this. I've seen request for the same. So I've shared the link to our WhatsApp channel. I've shared the link to our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe as well. See you next Thursday. I will request